Okay, now setting up and gripping up for the top roll movement. Now it seems like we already covered it in depth. We have not. Okay, now most important thing is the proper setup for a top roll is essential to doing a top roll. Okay, now that's the mistake people make. You can't just set up any old way and stand there with your hand on the other person and do an effective top roll. You have to be specifically set up, and that's exactly what we're going to cover. Okay, I'm just going to do this by myself, and then we'll grip up here. So watch this. Okay, remember, we still want, you can't see it from this angle, we still want the arm inside the body. Inside the body. Okay, absolutely essential. Okay, I'm going to put my elbow in the upper left-hand corner. Upper left. Okay, or close to it. Okay, that leaves you the maximum amount of room for retreat, a maximum amount of room to drag. Okay, you don't want to be in the right-hand corner. Okay, you can get forced off the pad here. It leaves you no room to go. You don't want to be at the bottom unless you're like 7 feet tall, because your leverage is probably going to be not that good. A lot of people, even with really long arms, can still set up in the top corner or close to it. That's where you want to be. That's my opinion. Okay. Once you set up, okay, now watch me. Okay, watch this. Okay, we're going to get fully pronated first. Okay, and that's the secret. Fully pronated first. As you set up, you don't, not kind of pronated, and then as the match starts, you roll. There's no strength there. That's a small muscle. But you know what I mean when I say you can hold a weight, then you're stronger than if you go to try to lift it. Same thing works for your pronator. If you're locked and holding, you can hold, but you're stronger than if you go bam. It's the same thing like with the wrist. Like if your wrist is stronger if you hold it, but if you put a weight down here and try to lift it, it's weak. It's isometrically strong. So same thing goes for your pronator. Okay, so watch. We're going to turn in. But what happens if I go to do that? My hand is turned this way. Okay, so I got to turn. I got to turn a little bit, so I'm going to put it in the upper left-hand corner. Okay, notice what has to happen. For me to start fair with Keppa, for my hand to be straight forward, I'm going to fully pronate. I can't stand behind my arm. It unpronates as I stand back here. So I'm setting up, I have to commit to this top roll, okay? Gripping up this way, getting close to the table. Same thing, we want connection, okay? Now it's not like the hook where we're pulling to the center necessarily, we're pulling outside, okay? We're fully pronated, very important, okay? And then the setup's going to be basically, we want to have pressure, depending on where we're going with it, pressure back or pressure up. But most important is we're not pulling over your right shoulder, okay? Unless you're doing a different movement, for the most part, you want to think about, like I said, you're putting pressure kind of towards you and into your left pocket if you're going right-handed. If you're going left-handed, it would be kind of towards you and into your right. Not here and then you're pulling back, okay? That's unpronating yourself, right? So to stay pronated, you need to get force like this, and think about leverage. We want to get high, we want to get outside. Okay, so for Keppa right here, body positioning. Okay, so like I said, if I'm going to grip up, I'm going to get fully pronated first. Okay, so I want to get fully pronated. So I'm going to try to think about setting up here before I even grip. Okay, I'm going to get my grip, come really high, up onto his finger, get my finger up against his fingers here, okay? Get a nice tight grip, cover my thumb, make sure it's fair, okay? Get my wrist as high as I can, bring my elbow in, fully pronated, okay? So you can feel the difference here, Cap, if I'm fully pronated and we start the match, 1, 2, 3, go. Immediately, I haven't gone like this, right? But also, as Keppa starts to hook or turn or whatever else, as I come back, I can give up a little bit and still win the match. Right? So if I'm starting pronated, even if he pulls me out of that a little bit, right, there's still going to be enough left over to still continue and win the match. Okay, if I'm starting without pronated and turning to the center and doing the same movement, that's me trying to pronate Keppa's arm. You see that? It's not working. It's like hitting a brick wall. Okay, but if I pronate first and set up properly, okay, and 1, 2, 3, go, I can produce a lot more force without using more power, right? So that's really, really key, really, really important. Okay, so thumb position, I'm going to show you the grip from the other side. I'll show you the grip before we move on, because most importantly is setting up properly with the grip. I know we kind of covered it, but let's do it with the whole setup. Okay, so setting up for the top row. Remember, we're committing to our outside move. Elbow to the front. I'm kind of thinking about kind of getting my hand a little past his. Now he's going to be going for his own grip too, right? So there's not, basically you're just trying to get a fair grip. But most importantly is you want to get a nice deep thumb. Okay, if your hand's going to come up, okay, you're going to return to the pad. I'm going to cover my knuckles with my 2 fingers. Okay, so that gives us a lot of leverage. We're as high as possible. If we're setting up for our top roll here, we're up in the left-hand corner. I'm fully pronated, but it's still fair. I'm over to the side of my arm, so I'm not center. If I'm totally square with him, I'm not pronated. I have to come over here to get fully pronated and locked. Okay, and that's what I'm going to try to maintain as I put the cup of water into my pocket. Mm-hmm. So it's like back pressure towards me. I'm changing levels without losing my pronation. That's the top roll. That's the best way to top roll. Okay. There's variations, we're going to cover those in a moment, but think of it this way. I'm fully pronated, I'm up in the left-hand corner, I'm tight, I'm high, as high as possible, okay? If my focus is just a basic top roll, okay? I'm fully pronated first, I'm still turned here, okay, with my shoulder, so it would be unfair if I'm starting like this. I can still start fair if I'm fully pronated by turning my shoulder, okay? You're close to the table, you're as close as possible, a little bit underneath the table, because we want pressure up towards me, up towards kind of above my head, up and behind me. That's the idea. Pressure, like I'm trying to pull his arm right off the table, because if that happens, that's a foul on him. That's not a foul on me. Okay, so that's what we're trying to do. Because he's got to hold it down while he's trying to hold me back. So 1, 2, 3, go. And putting pressure on the fingers, because you have to hold here, right? Yeah. And driving back, and you're coming all the way down, but that's my movement. Okay, so you see it here, fully pronated, boom. Okay, that's the movement what we're doing for the top roll. Okay, so one other thing. Now think about the thumb. The thumb is what we kind of covered with the hook. We had kind of a low thumb and a higher angle. We weren't as worried about the thumb position. Okay, because we're trying to create some space. With the top roll, it's totally different. Okay, so with the top roll, when we're setting up, and I'll show this by myself in double grip. For the top roll, it's the same thing. Everything else is the same, okay? But you want to have a wide thumb, okay? So when you go to grip, I know we're doing all this. It's hard to see, but I'm maintaining this as much as possible. I'm not giving it up. With the hook, it doesn't really matter. Okay? I'm just focused on getting my rotation. My thumb's not playing as big of a role. With the top roll, it's playing a big role, and here's why. Okay, so the importance of the thumb in top rolling. Okay, so the thumb's really important in top rolling. With the hook, we weren't as worried about it because we were going for wrist flexion. With top rolling, we don't want him to grip high on my thumb because it's going to remove leverage, and we're focused on trying to get leverage, trying to get maximum leverage in the setup, creating even more leverage through the move we're trying to do, through the top rolling move. Okay, so just as a really quick example, I'm just going to have Kepa grab my hand. Now I'm going to open my hand when you're setting up for a top roll. Even though I know we were going in and doing the grip up, I'm still keeping as much space here. I'm keeping my hand and finger. I'm using thumb strength to keep my hand as wide as I can. So he has to grip below this knuckle. Okay, if I use a low thumb and come really high like we were doing for the hook, he was grabbing above here, okay, and that's giving me less leverage. I'm trying to get more leverage from the setup, so that's why it's important to set up this way. So just Kepa going to grab my hand. I'm going to show you. I'm just have my hand really open, and he's going to grab me. He's kind of forced to grab me. See what I mean? Kind of forced to grab me lower, okay, and then I can wrap around and come up quite a bit higher, right? Even as he scoots his fingers up, I have a little bit more advantage, okay? And since, like we said, since I was top rolling, right? With that big wide thumb, you feel pressure, right? Right. So if I relax that, right? Now do you feel anything in these fingers, right? Not much, right? But yeah, like if we do the opposite and we widen up the grip again, neutral webbing. Okay, we want to be here. We want to have kind of neutral webbing. We're coming in. Okay, and I'm keeping my thumb as wide as I can. Even in the setup, I'm slowly driving it back into your fingers.
I can already feel it.
Yeah, and he can already feel it. Okay, so that's the important thing, is that the thumb is way back, because that's the interaction point. Yeah. The thumb and that area between my wrist and my thumb is what's actually interacting with your fingers and putting down the pressure. So if that's not thought about, if you don't consider that aspect and you just say, well, I'm just going to grab this guy's hand, and you don't care and you're not worried about putting a lot of pressure here, and you go to do that same movement, wham, okay? It's not going to turn out very well. So remember, wide thumb, or even after you grip, you're getting as much of this as you can. wrestling. And of course, that's key for top rolling and understanding how to start your match. Okay, so all other gripping and setting up aside, let's assume you've done all that correctly. Okay, the posting pressure is this. Okay, your arm is kind of at a maximum height, but that's not what I mean. Kep and I are going to take a grip here. Forget about all the little things. Let's just say we've set up for the top roll correctly. Okay, posting pressure is pressure up, kind of up towards my face, where I'm trying to put some initial pressure here. Okay, posting pressure. Now, if I have more posting strength than he does, okay, this is getting more deeply into competitive arm wrestling. Okay, suddenly, is he's going to sense that on the go. Now, you don't have to give that up on the go. You can kind of let everything relax, and that's what I tend to do, and I suggest that is going soft and then going for your move on the go. But at the same time, some people have a style where they like to put, because you can't, if you just let everything relax, and I can't do that. I can't, because the match can't start. Because that's a technique too. If somebody, just a quick tip, if somebody goes to grab you and put a ton of pressure before the match starts, that's a pretty good indication they don't know what they're doing. But if they go to do that, just go limp. Just let them get illegal, and the ref will warn them, and then they'll have to kind of relax, right? So I think try to go loose grip, but when the match kind of starts, and this is why it's important to understand the post position. Kepa's going to start, let's say he's pulling up towards him. This is a good test when you come to any arm wrestling table. I'm going to start posting back towards me. Traditional arm wrestling, okay? We're going to go 1, 2, 3, go. We both start pulling up and towards our faces. Now, the key, this is why I'm mentioning, is that this dictates where the match is going to go from here, okay? So from here, the stronger person, the stronger post, doesn't have to stop their post. They continue coming up and through your fingers and make it into one long move, basically. Okay, so think of it that way. That would make, let's say I was the stronger poster, okay, because it turns quickly into a top roll. I'm posting high, boom, posting top roll, coming through the fingers, rotating, changing levels, all that kind of stuff, bringing him down. He would have to adjust to that. Okay, that's all that means. That doesn't mean that I win the match. It doesn't mean anything. If I'm stronger here, that means he has to go somewhere else. And that's honestly the biggest key to arm wrestling right there. If you're stronger than your opponent in a different area than he is, go there, okay? And if they're stronger than you in a different area, stay out of that place. Don't try to match their strength exactly. That's why I'm talking about posting. So if we're both going high and I have a leverage advantage, he can suddenly press, boom, right? Change levels. I'm going high. He's coming low, coming underneath me. Okay, but that's just like that. Let's say I could have been stronger here. I could have been lifting all these weights and doing hammer curls, and I got all this pressure, and boom, he counters because he senses that difference in posting pressure. So generally speaking, think of it this way. When you're starting an arm wrestling match and you're putting up that posting pressure, which is a great way to start regardless, you want to set up to your committed move, and of course you already know that. But that's a good way to think about it, is put up some posting pressure, okay? If you know you're stronger than the person, it's something you can sense. If you can pull their hand away, top roll. Okay, if you sense they're granite and they're going to rip right through your fingers, don't post with them, okay? Think, okay, they're going this way, I'm going to press, okay? Or I'm going to hook, I'm going to take control of the person's hand, I'm going to hit them in the muscles they're not strongest in. If you sense that big strength, it's a great way to test and it's a great way to start your match. Outside arm wrestling technique we're going to cover. It's a posting top roll. I know I've mentioned that a few times, but let's go through the specifics. The setup was like I showed you. Full pronation, arm up into the upper left-hand corner, okay? You're going to get underneath the table. Nice split stance is best, okay? Don't put both your feet under the table. Try to get nice and wide. Left foot's back, your right foot's forward. Okay, we go to set up. Remember the grip? We're trying to keep the thumb wide, we're coming around, we're coming high as possible, we're doing a double cap on the fingers, okay, that's all good. What we're doing here is we're putting pressure up, back, kind of in this range, just going backwards, up through here, like there's someone back here, putting pressure up. Like I said, we're trying to kind of get him to come off the pad. That's the idea, straight up through the fingers, so we start to break this grip. We need to have a connection here. There needs to be connection. The thumb's wide. You're putting pressure on the go. Okay, like I said, with the posting, that's exactly what you're doing. We just covered posting. This is exactly going from posting to posting top roll. Okay, for posting, think of it like you're coming under your arm to generate pressure up, right? Just straight up and then back at the same time, because there's going to be back pressure, there's going to be dragging. That's why we want to start up at the front of the pad. I'm going to turn, be rotated, so all the way pronated. 1, 2, 3, go. See what I mean? We're trying to get pressure up. You can see what's happening to his elbow, back, and then I'm trying to roll. I already have a big leverage advantage here because I got a break in his fingers. Okay, so it slowly slid up, and then we're rolling through. Like I said, we're already pronated. Okay, and then rolling through and pulling backwards at the same time. Okay, so one more time, it's kind of in slow motion. We're getting a good grip. Everything's good. For the top roll, we're as high as possible. We're getting underneath the table. We're generating pressure up and back like I'm trying to pull him off the pad. 1, 2, 3, go. And we're kind of rolling through the fingers. Okay, you don't want too much of a break to happen here. Okay, which can happen if you just go back and you get a break. You want to try to come back into the match. Okay, what you want to do is try to stay stable through here. So as you're pulling him out, you're keeping this as stable as you can. It might open up a little bit, but that's the idea. It's not just backward pressure, more of upward pressure, okay? You come behind your hand, you're fully pronated. 1, 2, 3, go. Pressure up, pressure coming back, and then of course you're trying to change levels and roll right through the fingers. Okay, so posting top roll from the other side. Okay, same position, same move. We're here, we're getting a good position with the elbow, front left-hand corner, okay? Arm fully pronated, okay? Hand in a good position. We want pressure here. Thumb is wide, so we're getting pressure. Thumb's over. Your thumb is covered, okay? On the go, remember, we're kind of dropping down onto your tricep, okay? Think of it that way. And maintaining this angle, because if I'm dropping down onto my tricep, he has to kind of come with me if he's holding on, okay? So on 1, 2, 3, go, right? I put the pressure here, rotate, and like you can see, this is hard to see, but like you can see, there's a little hooking and rotating at the same time, because we're already trying to keep rotated. So on 1, 2, 3, go. You can put a little bit of a hook in there, even at the same time as you're driving up. That's going to help to start turning the wrist, okay? But for the most part, keeping the rotation, driving up, and rolling right through the fingers. That's a posting top roll. Is the hand control top roll, which is just a little bit different style, but the same gist, same idea, okay? We're rotated to start, or at least as rotated as possible, okay? We're pronated, okay? I'm just going to show this by myself, just to kind of see what my hand does. The posting top roll was more like, keep this angle, bam, okay? There's variations, but the idea is kind of that movement there, trying to drive pressure up and back, okay? The hand control top roll is different, and it takes different strength, okay? That's more, using more hooking, using a different type of pronation, okay? So it would be the same. Just for myself here, I'm just going to be in the top, same thing, top left-hand corner always is a good place to be. It doesn't mean you have to be there. It's just a good variation, and it's my opinion. With the hand control top roll, the setup can be exactly the same. Same exact setup, okay? We're high, our leverage is good. There's nothing wrong with that, okay? I'll talk about a variation in grip in just a moment, but here's the idea, is what we're trying to do is this, as opposed to the posting top roll, which was there, the hand control, and that's the term hand control, is I'm trying to control his hand. So if I'm working hard on this strength, on my ability to rock this way and roll through somebody's hand, that's the best way to train for doing hand control top rolls. And of course we'll get to the training section, but let me have Kepa's hand for a second. Hand control top roll. Okay, it would start the same. We're setting up the same. Okay, same thing. We need to have pressure here. So I need to have a nice wide thumb. Okay, if I don't feel good there, I can always kind of re-grip to where I feel like I can get as far around his hand as possible. The further I get around his hand, the more pressure I'm going to be able to get here. Okay, and I'm trying to keep the thumb wide. Same setup. Okay, so the hand control top roll. We're not dropping onto our tricep. We're still going to keep pronation. On 1, 2, 3, go. It's a little back pressure, massive rotation. Okay, we're already staying rotated, but as you hit, you might get a little leeway here. Okay, and as you turn, you might get a little bit of opening there. You just close it and turn. Okay, so it's 1, 2, 3, go. I cheated on that one, but 1, 2, 3, go. You can see outside pressure, rolling, pronating, changing levels. Coming through. Okay, so the difference being posting top roll, you can really feel the difference too. Okay, and then hand control top roll. Okay, so even if you're starting pronated, okay, you're kind of focused on that type of movement, taking them directly down. Takes a little bit more side pressure, okay? But it's hard to see. But remember, you're still using back pressure. That's your keys. You're breaking through the fingers, even though it looks like I'm like this, right? I'm doing a little bit of that movement. For the most part, though, I'm pulling this way and keeping my thoughts on putting pressure here. I don't really care about everything else. I'm trying to think about putting pressure there. And if you think about it, if you actually think about it and look at the fingers and go, okay, how do I get a little more comfortable in there? How do I get more pressure on there? For the move I'm going to do, it makes a big difference. Yeah. So I know I'm getting pressure in the right spot. I'm confident my move's going to work. Okay, but for the hand control top roll, essentially we still want pressure on these fingers. Okay, we still want maximum leverage. It's back, and then you're just rolling immediately. Where with the posting top roll, we're staying straight. Okay, you can do a little hooking, but for the most part, you're staying straight because you want to generate pressure up and break the grip and pull them this way. With the hand control, we're more focused on generating rotational spinning pressure here. Okay, so depending on where, like I said, depending on where your strengths are, can depend on what kind of top roll you do. That's essentially it. I mean, they do work as specific counters in certain situations, which is true, and that's different. But as far as an offensive technique, they're both great. You just have to be, if you're stronger in one area than another, you might want to focus on one as an offensive move. Okay, so hand control top roll, we'll do it from the other side in just a minute, but you still want connection, okay, but we're not as focused on pulling to the center of your body, even though you're starting kind of inside your body. Okay, it's 1, 2, 3, go. It's just a little bit of back pressure. You're still keeping this tight, rolling through, changing the holes, and I'll show it from the other side. Okay, so hand control top rolling from the other side. Okay, so we're here. Same thing. Remember, we're rotated over. We're setting up. We're high. We're over the thumbs. Okay, we're tight. We're not back here. We're not starting from here. We're starting really close to your arm. You're tight. Okay. You're rotated. You're stacking everything in the deck. You're stacking the odds in your favor for every little tiny nuance you do. Okay, and that's what I want you to think about. That's going to give you a huge advantage. Okay, we're putting pressure here. Think about it. Wide thumb, get some pressure. You can see when it happens. Okay, get some pressure. Manipulate your grip. Stay rotated. Okay, we're tight. We really want to stay pronated, so we're tight through the pronator. Okay, so we're not only locked, we're holding. Like your life depends on it, okay? Because that's going to help your move. Even if you lose a little bit, it gives you lots of retreat. So even if he tries to hook and gets you, it gives you a lot of retreat. If you start just a little bit not pronated, go ahead and go boom. You hit that maximum point really fast, okay? So you want to stay maximum pronation. 1, 2, 3, go. Okay, staying tight, keeping this angle, rolling through those fingers.